Here's the difference between Democrats and MAGA Republicans. When a Democrat says something racist or anti-Semitic, we hold Democrats accountable. When a MAGA Republican says something racist or anti-Semitic, they are embraced by cheering crowds and become celebrated and sought after endorsements.
Democrats hold their fellow Democrats accountable? That's just a flat out lie. The Democrats have done very little to hold their anti-Semitic members accountable for their views and their support of the BDS movement. The Washington Examiner citing at least 9 Democrats who have gone unpunished for their anti-Semitism. And as President Trump implored American Jews to wake up and recognize the obvious, he's now accused of anti-Semitism by a corrupt press. Joining me now to discuss is Professor Emeritus at Harvard Law School, Newsmax analyst, and author of The Price of Principle, Why Integrity is Worth the Consequences, Alan Dershowitz. Mr. Dershowitz, Democrats are going after President Trump for his recent call for all American Jews to show more appreciation for Israel. Professor, President Trump was the biggest supporter of Israel among any president in recent memory. His own daughter and grandchildren are Jewish. Is this a sign that Democrats are desperate to push narrative over news and trying to say that somehow President Trump is anti-Semitic?
You know, when you make anti-Semitism into a partisan issue, that really is a terrible, terrible thing. The American Zionist Association has just decided to give President Trump his highest award, saying that he, more than any other president in history, probably beside from Harry Truman, has done more to defend and support Israel. Look, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but I certainly admire what he did on Israel. I certainly admire the Abraham Accords, the recognition of Jerusalem, the recognition of the Golan Heights. And what he said in that tweet, he told me a dozen times. Virtually every time he saw me, he would say to me, Alan, how come, the Jews don't show their admiration for me by voting for me? And I would have to explain, look, Jews don't vote only on Israel. They vote on abortion. They vote on gay rights. They vote on the climate. They vote on a range of issues that they prefer Democrats over Republicans. So don't take it personally. It has nothing to do with you. I think every Jew I know really admires what you did for Israel. It's just that isn't necessarily their top priority. Among some Jews, it is their top priority. And those Jews always voted for Trump and will continue to vote for Trump. But it's a more complicated issue than the Democratic team.
You have been on the forefront of calling out this growing specter of anti-Semitism in the Democrat Party. You saw it and actually have been sounding the alarm more than anybody else. And you were one of the first, to your credit, from Rashida Tlaib to AOC to Ilhan Omar. The Democrat Party does not check its own individuals for their anti-Semitic talk. And I think this is the reason why you're seeing the press trying to shift the narrative here, because they refuse to tell the truth about what's happening, Professor, in your own party. Is that true of me to say?
No, it's absolutely true. If you compare what the Democrats did to Ilhan Omar, put her on foreign relations, or one of the most important committees, with what the Republicans did to Congresswoman Green, who made some very ill-advised statements about how the Rothschilds were sending fires down to California. The Republicans took her off all the committees, and she's not any longer regarded as a mainstream Republican. She's a very strong candidate in her own district, but the Republicans have done far more to try to rid their party of anti-Semites than the Democrats have done. And Democrats have mainstreamed some of the anti-Semitism, and there's no excuse for that. And then people on the hard left, Berkeley, University of California Law School, 9 clubs have said we're allowed to have Russian speakers, you can have Chinese speakers, Cuban speakers. You want to have a speaker from the Ku Klux Klan, that's okay. But a Zionist, God forbid, you should have a Zionist, which really in that context means a Jewish speaker. And those are all left-wing Democrats that are making those kinds of anti-Semitic statements and rules. And so both sides have to equally fight against all kind of bigotry, anti-Semitism, anti-Catholicism, anti-Christianity. There's so much anti in this country, and both parties have a responsibility to do it, especially when it comes on their side of the political spectrum.